That is what I spent in 1 year on the MT-03 as a young rider in the UK. No BS, no clickbait, I'm going to be breaking down every single penny I spent on this thing. This is the guide I wish I had when I bought this, and I'll be showing you how nearly half of that went on one thing you cannot avoid. Before we jump in, quick context. I've done 10,000 miles in 9 months. My figures will be slightly higher than most, and I've got the 2017 model. The miles per gallon is just shit. So just keep that in mind as we go through these numbers. So let's start with the cheap stuff. Honestly, the cheapest thing I can find on this list was the MOT. That was £30. And then I've got the Monimoto tracker, and that's £36 for the year. And then road tax, honestly, this was a shocker because I think I paid £26 for my Lex Moto. £55 for the Yamaha to tax it for a year. So now moving on to the fuel reality check. Now this is where the figure skyrockets. Now this is where those 10,000 miles really started to add up. So as I said in my previous video, the 2017 MT-03 allegedly gets about 70 miles per gallon. I literally get 55, but on average, I think I was doing about 750 to 1,000 miles. So you can see how that's going to add up. That includes commuting, weekend rides, touring to Scotland and things like that.
Right, so I usually put about 17 quid in this. That gets me like 11 litres, I think. It's a 14 litre tank. It's not quite empty now, so we'll see how much we get from this. Stop clicking, I ain't finished it, there's still more to go. Almost 11 litres, 16 quid.
So all that comes to around £100 a month, and that brings the grand total so far to £900. Right, moving on to maintenance and servicing. So I do all my services myself, which I think drastically halves your maintenance costs for the year. So I've done 3 services so far. So that's 3 oil filters. That worked out at around £10 each. I'll insert the filters that I use here. And the MT-03 takes around 2.1 litres of oil. I use Silclean oil. Now, I don't want you to come at me. This is what the guy in the bike shop recommended me. I buy the 4 litre boxes, and I've bought 2 of those. So each 4 litres is £40, so that brings it to 80. I've also had to have a rear tyre fitted. To be honest, that wasn't too expensive. There's a local guy, he includes the fitting price with the tyre. It's actually really cheap. So I paid 116. I run Michelin Pilot radials. I haven't died yet, so I assume they're good tyres. And as you can see, our counter is climbing extremely fast. Right, next up is parts for the bike. So I'll start by including things that I consider as essentials for the bike. So we're talking like frame protectors, things that really, if you're getting a bike, you should be having them on there. So I've got a cooler grill, that was £47. Frame protectors, they were £27, and full protectors for £35. Now these next ones, to be honest with you, they're not really essential. I just wanted them on the bike. If I'm trying to qualify why I spent this large amount of money, things like filtering, with the louder exhaust, people can hear you, and hopefully they can see you, but we are talking about car drivers and the rides don't work, so.
I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
I have a slip-on exhaust for £298. Then I have a quad lock kit, which was £93.57. And then last on this list was a Rhino Walk tail bag, which was around £116. Again, I do think this was an essential because as I'm a commuter, I need somewhere to store a lot of my things. The bike did come with a top box, but oh my god, the top box was ugly. I took that straight off. Right, now moving on to security. Again, I think this is a very important one. As you're probably aware, the UK probably has one of the highest bike theft rates in Europe, which doesn't seem to be getting any better either. I myself have had a bike stolen. Cheapest thing on the list was an Oxford ground anchor. That was £17. And then I've spent roughly £180 on different sorts of chains. So I have one that I anchor to the wall in my drive, one that I take on the go, and one that I just chain my gates up with, because you can never have too much security living in the UK. And then I just had this Oxford disc lock with an alarm, because my old one didn't have an alarm, and I think, you know, you can never be too safe, so. Right, so at the start of the video, I mentioned that there's one thing that takes up nearly half of this cost, and you just cannot avoid it, and that is the insurance. I pay £1,344 for fully comp. Just keep in mind, I'm 24, I've got 1 year's no claims bonus. I've been riding for just over 2 years. So yeah, your price could be higher, it could be lower, I think it just depends. Things like where you store your bike will massively impact your insurance premium. So I know what you're thinking, £3,400 is a lot of money. And you know what, it is, but here's what £3,400 actually brought me. Right, so that's the real cost. No BS, no hiding the scary numbers. That's what it's cost me to run my MT-03 for 1 year as a young rider in the UK. So if this video helped you understand the real costs, no fantasy numbers, then please hit the like button. And if you've made it this far, you might as well subscribe. It helps other riders find videos like this. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.
Oh my god. All this.